currently the FCT minister, he has asked his successor, Governor Siminalayi FUBARA, to follow the rule of law for peace to reign in the state. In his words, I quote, "Obey court judgment and allow the rule of law to prevail. If you don't obey the law, you are bringing anarchy. I was a governor. I've always obeyed the rule of law. You heard the governor say that our state is turning into a state of anarchy where people do not obey the rule of law." End of quote. However, FUBARA has since vowed to fish out the masterminds of the attacks, and on Tuesday he set up a panel to probe the incident. Well, this of course is not the first time that the FCT minister WIKE and the present the current governor, I beg your pardon, Siminalayi FUBARA, are having, a face-off. I mean, it all, dates back to last year, yes, if I'm not mistaken, just 4 months after, Governor Siminalayi FUBARA was sworn in. There was, this romance between this, political figures, and all of a sudden, things actually went south. And it has actually left, the people of Rivers State at the receiving end in terms of, the crisis that always, come with whatever argument that these two, end up having. In this case, it has to do with the just concluded local government elections. And whilst a number of, Nigerians and even people of the state had congratulated the governor, for the conduct of that election, it obviously did not go well, with some other quarters, and that's the reason perhaps why there's been this renewed attacks in the state. Now, joining me now to discuss this is an editor. He is also an author, politics and current affairs analyst, Emmanuel Kelly. He joins us live via telephone this morning. Good morning to you, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning for having me.
Right. When you look at the relationship between the FCT minister, WIKE, and the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi FUBARA, these two could, pass for brothers. I mean, before they actually, started this back and forth. We don't even know if this has to do with godfather, godson situation. But we do know, of course, that before Governor Siminalayi FUBARA was sworn into office, he was, publicly anointed by the FCT minister, WIKE. So, to some Nigerians, to some political analysts, it's a case of a godfather not being loyal to, a godson not being loyal to the godfather. But the question now would be, should it be at the detriment of, the people of that state? And then what actually comes to mind when you try to bring in the essence of democracy? Do we have a situation whereby Godfatherism has taken over, the electoral process in the country, or the democracy that we are practicing? Emmanuel.
All right, thank you so very much, and listeners, thank you for tuning in. Well, like you aptly said, let me start with the issue of Godfatherism, because that's where the bone of contention actually started from. Now, on issue of Godfatherism, the question you ask is whether we can do away with Godfatherism.
Right.
I think our democracy is so nascent, despite we've been into it for close to 2 decades now or more. But it's so nascent that for now we can't do away with the issue of Godfatherism completely. But then, Godfatherism should not be a reason why someone should lord over others. What is actually Godfatherism is your ability to be able to produce a successor. Because you are no Godfather, that shouldn't serve as a reason for you seeing yourself as a demigod. You are only a godfather because you've served before, or you have some political relevance, or you have some importance to your people, and people listen to you. So Godfatherism can be completely wiped.
Are you there?
Now, coming back to the issue of WIKE versus FUBARA, which is the most burning issue now. I think what most people fail to understand is this. As far as I'm concerned, as a political affairs analyst, both of them, they are still something that they are yet to tell the world. All the excuses, all the reasons that they are both giving, for me, they are only scratching just the surface. The real issue is still underneath. They are yet to disclose what is actually the issue. And I want to look at it from this perspective. It could be that they have an agreement which both of them agree to keep it to themselves, and one of the parties isn't ready or find it difficult to meet up with that condition as things are, or immediately things began to unfold. Now, like if you come to the issue of WIKE, the FCT emperor, it really just moving around two major facts. That first and foremost, that we wholeheartedly and single-handedly supported FUBARA to emerge, but that at the long run, that FUBARA now began to meet with its political enemies, political or perceived political foes. Yes, that is one of the excuses for me. And for me, I think I don't see that excuse as so germane enough to have warrant the kind of crisis the state is facing for now. Why? Because if you are saying that FUBARA is hobnobbing with your political foes, then you should also be conscious of the fact that FUBARA is now a governor of a state. And as a governor of a state, everybody in that state is yours. You are governing all of them. So you should not be seen as publicly displaying your enmity for anybody.
Right.
So I think,
yes, please go on.
Yeah, I think for me, FUBARA is only trying to be a father to a state. You understand? I'm not a monster to a state. So if WIKE is seeing FUBARA as hobnobbing with its political foes, then I think he's getting it all wrong. You understand?
Right.
Because the fact that he supported FUBARA to become the governor does not mean FUBARA should not listen to people that even voted against him. Does not mean FUBARA should not work for people that voted against him. So WIKE should understand that simple logic. As the governor of the state, either those that supported you or those that didn't support you, automatically they all becomes your fan, because you will be accountable to all of them.
All right. Yes, Uncle Lee, just to come in real quick. I mean, there are rumors that the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike bankrolled the elections of most of the elected political office holders in Rivers State during the 2023 general elections. What does that tell you, especially with regards to the fight, for a more credible, process? I mean, if we have a situation whereby you anointed someone and eventually the person became, the governor of the state, is it more of competence now or recommendation and some sort of, anointment? We don't even know the oil he used in anointing him in the first place. Maybe it's it was black oil he used, and that's why they keep having this, face off almost every now and then. That's by the way. But what are your thoughts exactly with regards to, the essence of democracy and, a more credible electoral process?
All right. You ask, is it black oil?
Yes.
Oh, what kind of anointing oil? That's very ridiculous. Well, the issue is this: anointing in our own political climate, giving out and ensuring they get the ticket, and not just getting the ticket, but you hand that person, hand the person, fight for that against all odds. That's anointing.
Okay.
And if you want to anoint someone, it's another thing for that person to also lose the election. So if we can claim to have anointed FUBARA and he bankrolled all the political processes and supported him until he eventually won, kudos to WIKE, and very, very excellent. That means it's someone that has political clout. However, WIKE should understand one simple logic about life. You can't eat your cake and have it back. WIKE was a former governor, unlike other former governors in the state. So you can't be a former governor and still be a governor by proxy. You understand? So even if you anointed someone to become a governor, then there shouldn't be that open confrontation between you and that person. You understand? I have examples to give, which I would you understand? I'm talking about bankrolling. WIKE is not the only person to have spent his money in bankrolling people to become, to get whatever political position in life. You understand?
Yes.
So secondly, let's also ask ourselves, those monies that he used in bankrolling them, those monies came from where? You understand?
Yes.
He was able to get those monies because he was in charge of the state. You understand?
Yeah.
So let's get something clearly. And even if he didn't get those money because he was in charge of the state, but he was able to have those positions of ensuring that things work out to his own benefit because he was in charge of the state after that material time.
All right. So from your own point of view, you probably have been monitoring, the face-off between these political figures. Who is really at fault?
I think, as far as I'm concerned, I want to put the blame on WIKE. And now, reason being very clear and very simple. Now, it's two elephants that are fighting.
Right.
And the grass will suffer for it. You understand? WIKE once made one online statement that no governor is small. Don't call any governor a baby. You understand? That he is in charge of the state and in charge of resources. So you should understand that statement is still very, very valid. So if WIKE is thinking that because he has sponsored FUBARA to emerge and therefore he should be in charge, then you should also understand that it is the entire state that will be suffering for that crisis. Now look at what transpired recently. Is it the loss of life, or is it the destruction of property, or is it the obstruction of good governance in the state? Now putting literally everybody in that state into panic. So who is suffering it now? It is the state. So I think my appeal to it is that WIKE should simply go back to himself and address himself and then it's right time I let this go. Now, like the example I wanted giving, WIKE should go leave from our current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Same thing happened in Lagos State. Who brought Ambodi, and shortly after a short while, Tinubu and Ambodi were no longer in good terms as expected, but Tinubu never showed it up. Ambodi never showed it up. He never caused any crisis between them. But what happened? Tinubu was waiting for the right time. When it was time for Ambodi to see the content, Tinubu now came in. And Ambodi lost out. Okay, now another example, case of Sokoto State. Senator Wamako versus Waziri Tambua. Wamako was responsible for Tambua's emergence in 2015. But shortly after he got into office, the relationship got sour, and Tambua now defected back to the PDP from APC, which he was working to come and become governor. And Wamako never took it any serious. There was no cause for fight because they know it is their own state. And Wamako had to wait until 2019. And because Tambua was in power, Tambua also used his own power to ensure that he won 2019 by slim margin. One of the slimmest in the history of democracy so far.
All right, so apparently we have, political godfathers idolized, across, the country. I mean, various states of the federation. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course, there are. And so many examples. Many examples. Okay, now look at the case of Benue State, for instance. The current SDF, Secretary Governor of Federation, Mr. George Akume, and the governor of Benue State, Reverend Hazen Aliyah. They are not really in good terms, but the political trouble between them, they are married, but it doesn't have a negative consequence on the state itself, the people of the state. So we can also learn how to manage things in a manner that it will not cause such a distortion.
All right. We know, of course, that at some point in time, the governor, I think that was last year or early this year, he ordered the demolition of the House of Assembly. And the same day he presented the budget to the minority house. Excavators, wheel loaders, and other earth-moving equipment moved to the River State House of Assembly, not to refurbish, the complex that was actually touched, but to level the structures to the ground. Well, on Monday, December 11, 27 River State lawmakers loyal to WIKE defected to the All Progressives Congress, citing division within the People's Democratic Party, as well as refusal of the state governor to pay their salaries and allowances. So the issues are actually all encompassing as we speak, with political sentiments coming into play, and also to the needs of the people of the state as to whether or not the governor is really active or not. But when you take a look at the just concluded, local government elections, we saw that a new party, that's the APP, actually won 22 of the local government, and some people say it is unprecedented, right? But the FCT minister, who happens to be a PDP, member, just like the governor of FUBARA, he has come out to say that Governor Siminalayi FUBARA actually sponsored, the APP. Whilst FUBARA is saying that he's still, a party member, a PDP party member. What exactly do you make of all of this, back and forth, the controversy with regards to political party, ethics for these figures?
All right, thank you very much. Like you actually said, if you look at FUBARA, some couple of days ago, FUBARA was able to come out and say the bloody truth, that the crisis between him and WIKE is just for nothing but one, power and control of River State. Now, if the crisis is for power and control of River State, then, like you said earlier from your opening remark, that WIKE sponsored virtually most of the Senator Assembly members, including himself, FUBARA. So, now, if as a former governor, he sponsored them into emergence, then he should also allow a current or a sitting governor to also sponsor his own people into emergence. But then, we can still feel like controlling the entire structure of the political party in the state. And loyal to FUBARA, not elected. The only option FUBARA had was to also use his own political mathematics to stay aside and also sponsor candidates from another party, which will now be loyal to this, because it's all about political dominance and power control. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, and as a student of politics, I think what FUBARA did was a good political calculation. A well-calculated political machinery in place to ensure that he also
Are you there?
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, please. Yes, could you please repeat your... yes.
Okay, what I'm saying is this. I think as far as I'm concerned, what FUBARA did was simply a well-calculated political strategy to ensure its political relevance in the state and gain political mileage.
All right.
By ensuring that it produces those that emerged at the local level. After all, don't forget, politics is local. So if FUBARA had allowed WIKE to take control of those local structures, then FUBARA is gone politically. And having realized the fact that, WIKE is still controlling the people structure, which ordinarily should have been controlled by FUBARA, because that's how things are being done in Nigeria. But then the normal thing is party structure should have been controlled by the state party chairman and party executives. But in the Nigerian scenario, the reverse happens to be the case. Whoever emerges governor becomes the automatic leader of the party in the state.
But what do you make of the outright disregard, for court orders in the country? I mean, the case with FUBARA and WIKE, this is not, the first of it. We've seen, other cases where, people directly involved, they disregard, court orders. I mean, a court order can actually say that this should not hold, but in the real sense, those affected would insist that this must hold.
Okay, thank you very much. Talking about court orders in the Nigerian scenario, I think we still have a long way to go as far as our judiciary is concerned. Why do I say this? Court orders that someone can get an injunction for an expert motion today, tomorrow the next person goes to get his own. So court orders now are so conflicting that to an extent you just wondering which of the court orders do you believe or which of the court orders would you obey. So I think as far as I'm concerned, I think the judicial system should also have a introspection and begin to also serve themselves and ensure that they do the right thing and they don't dance to that mentality of who pays the piper. Because that's how Nigerians are seeing court injunctions and court orders as it is now. Anybody can wake up with whatever you can offer and get a court injunction, or even if you don't offer with your connection and all that, you can get a court injunction or court order. So I think court order should be done on the basis of the merit of the case presented before them. and not just court orders being issued on the ground that a respondent has approached a court or a plaintiff has approached a court. I think there should be some level of decorum in the issuance of court order or court ex parte motion and all that. So I think for me, looking at the fact that court orders are being obeyed or not being obeyed, is simply because there are no consequences when such is being done. And this is not the first time. And I can bet you that it's not equally going to be the last time. Why? Because there are no consequences. And in a scenario whereby there are no consequences for breach of law, breach of constitution, breach of court orders, where there are no consequences, then it's bound to continue to happen. So I think the judicial system, and they should still go back, have a retrospection, and see how best they could make it in a manner that will be more respectable, in a manner that Nigerians will fear the court more. Long before now, it has been a normal case that the court is the hope of the common man. But as it is today, the court no longer seems to be the last hope of the common man. You understand?
All right.
So I think the judiciary has become so large. Sorry to use this word, but for the mind of most Nigerians now, and with the current development, the judiciary seems to have been so bastardized.
Okay.
So I think it's high time they go back to redeem that cherished image which the judiciary is being seen before now.
All right. I mean, just to bring in another perspective in terms of, conflict resolution, we've seen, over time how the president, had to, come in to try to address, the issues, between the FCT minister and the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi FUBARA. But it appears the conflict resolution, measures or mechanisms, they are just short term and not long term. I mean, the reason why we have this, issues almost every now and then, what would you actually suggest, as a way of a more stringent, a more decisive, way or measure of addressing these issues between these political figures? Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, the masses, the people of Rivers State, they are at the receiving end as we speak.
Okay, thank you so very much. Just like you said, that Mr. President has tried to see how he can resolve the crisis, and yet the crisis is persist. To be very honest and candid with you and with Nigerians, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot resolve that crisis. And the reasons are very simple. Why? Because he will approach the crisis from a biased mindset.
How do you mean?
Yes, I mean this because one, what's it called? The FCT minister is an appointee of the president. So he will have that soft spot for his appointee. Two, FCT minister will always have that rule of talking with the president, thereby making the president to see his own aspect as being correct. Thirdly, FCT minister, everybody knows that he is, and it is enough that he brought FUBARA, he sponsored FUBARA. So that sympathy for the FCT minister will be there. So I think as far as I'm concerned, Mr. President cannot address this issue and address this issue holistically. So my own humble advice is this. The Rivers people, didn't they have elders? Didn't they have respected stakeholders? I think the council of elders in Rivers should be able to call both of them together at this point. Because now it's getting out of hand. And the entire state will be in for it. Because when there is crisis, good governance will emit such a state. So now it's high time Council of Elders from River State or Council of Elders from the South State or Council of Elders from the oil-rich states should come together and call both WIKE and FUBARA and see how they could mediate with frank mindset on how to resolve this crisis. Because so long as this crisis persists, everyone will be the one to suffer for it, river people will suffer for it, and governance will now be at crisis also. But I can assure you that so long as WIKE didn't back down and FUBARA didn't back down, the war is going to be a difficult one for both of them. But it will be easier won by FUBARA for this first 4 years than WIKE.
But you seem to be forgetting the antecedents of the FCT minister. By that I mean his relationship with traditional heads and what have you in that state. I'm sure you've seen videos in circulation, as to how he addressed some of them in the past. Some Nigerians had actually reacted. Actually, it was actually mixed reactions at the time. That some have tagged him rude or disrespectful, arrogant, if you like. So what is the possibility that he's going to heed to the advice coming from elders in the state, or even from the southern states?
Well, even if that had happened in the past, that shouldn't deter them from finding a lasting solution or a near lasting solution to the crisis that is before them. That is why they are traditional rulers. They are bound to forgive. They are bound to control whatever behavior from any of their own child. So they shouldn't see that as a reason why they will be beating both of them. And that invitation don't just have to start to be both of them. They should also look at some other prominent Nigerians that are very, very straightforward from other regions of this country and bring them in as well. They should look at religious leaders from other sides of this country and bring them in as well. At least they should be able to talk to people in a manner that they will preach peace into them. After all, they should not forget, this life is transient. Even the leadership they are struggling for, the money, the wealth, the relevance, the political, whatever they are struggling for, is just but for a moment. A time will come that all of these things will come and pass, there will be no more, and they will go to face judgment. So they should also remember, a day of reckoning will certainly come. They shouldn't forget that the fact that they are alive today struggling for all this, that is the end of life. No, there is a life after the life we are living here. So I think if they have that in their mind, they should be able to know that whatever they are doing, there is a day will come that they will be accountable to the creator, to the maker of heaven and earth. So I think if the emperor has done that before, FCT minister, he has shown some level of disrespect to elders before in the state, then that should be maybe some of the people that are perceived as political fools as well.
All right, I'll let you hold your thoughts, Emmanuel Ankeli. We're due for a commercial break. When we come back, I'll let you wrap up your thoughts and then open the studio lines for the listener out there to call in and also share his or her thoughts on the topic of discussion this morning.
All right, thank you so very much.
All right.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
My people, the thing where they happen for my area,
Do you think I will now find out that you have contract to bring fresh girls?
I brought you from the gutters. Who gave you all the connects? MDG, who? Without me, you would have been nobody. But
join Media Coalition and Awareness to Halt Human Trafficking, MICA, on I Wish I Knew radio drama every Saturday at 10 a.m. Let us join hands and kick human trafficking out of our communities.
74 Cadastral Zone C16 along Julius Berger Road, Idu Industrial District, Abuja. You can also call us on 080-6433-3100 or 090-1066-0869. BB Empire Motor Services Limited, the solution for your car needs and services.
Follow and engage with us now on Facebook,
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Instagram at Eagles FM 102.3. Download our apps on your Android and iOS stores. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. The radio experience you can count on.
All right, thanks for staying with us. And this is Eagles Outlook live on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. And I've been speaking with my guest, who is an editor, an author, and also politics and current affairs analyst, Emmanuel Ankeli, who is live at telephone this morning to discuss the political crisis in Rivers State. And we're actually trying to get sense of what the real issues are. Godfatherism in politics, is this something that we can actually wipe out of Nigerian politics? That answer is up to you to decide, or to share your thoughts on. Well, at this juncture, Ankeli, I'd like you to hold your thoughts and listen very carefully to the contributions that will be made right, via calls from the listener out there, so you can make your submission at the end of the day. The numbers to call are 09087668888 or 09073530044. You can send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal on 09097054450. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, my sister.
Yes, good morning. Your name and location, please.
Naja is my name. I'm calling from Cuba.
All right, please go ahead.
In River State, if they want to solve the problem, it is very simple. Tinubu can never solve that problem because Tinubu is a pathetic. I'm sorry to say, it's involved, the way he involved, he can't solve the problem. Let the security advisor to him invite people out the list. Ameti, FUBARA, WIKE, and then the class. And hand over them to Abdul Salam, somebody who don't have anything to do with politics. Or hand over them. The problem politicians have in Nigeria, if anybody came out and talked to help the government, if they come into an end, hand over them to Obasanjo. Obasanjo will tell them the truth and then tell you what to do. And then the undertaking that peace will finish. The track must involve because we know in and out of that problem. I'm making know in and out of that problem. We tell the lady the same thing. We take the same thing and FUBARA. If they invite those people, hand over them to Abdul Salam or Obasanjo. Because the security advisor, in the Bible, this problem will be so much of it, he can't know how to solve it.
All right.
Hand over to key person where you know participate in politics, you're going to start problem on the River State.
All right.
You know, all the way, it's not going to work. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Noja. The numbers to call are 09087668888 or 09073530044. Please desist from calling the WhatsApp phone number. All right, you can send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp platform instead. We have this message right here. All right, let's take this call before we take the message. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, your name and location, please.
Yeah, my name is Honorable Edward from the All
right, good to have you. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me start by appreciating our guest. Actually, he's a political scientist. He has made vital points. Honestly, I appreciate him. This River State issue, to be honest to ourselves, if we may ask this question, what has FUBARA done to deserve what is happening in the State? Political, I'm always a political scientist. So I enjoy what our guest is saying. What has FUBARA done? You said there are many ways to frustrate your opponent. Now I can call FUBARA an opponent to WIKE. WIKE is trying his own best to make sure that FUBARA did not, do anything in River State. And I think that is what is happening. What to think about it? Look at Benue State. In Benue State, but that is my state. Governor Alia was not a member of their party, the APC. It was the current AGF who gave me that seat. What has AGF done? AGF handled this with maturity. And up till now, there's no crisis in Benue State. Governor Alia is working there. That is misunderstanding. That is the division in APC. There's division there. A very serious one. The AGF is having the genuine APC ESCO. Governor Alia is having the fake one.
Well, you don't know, but let's not deviate from the focus. What do you think is the way forward for this, two figures?
The way forward is no other person but WIKE should cease fire. That is the way forward.
All right.
It should behave like President. It should behave like President Tinubu. What he did to Ambode.
All right.
Behave like that.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All
right. Thank you very much, Honorable Edward. All right. A call to the FCT minister to cease fire there. But what are your thoughts? We'd like to hear from you this morning. As a matter of fact, we're open to, views and counter views as far as this subject matter is concerned. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Royal Highness on radio. Is it okay?
Yes, please.
Good morning, my sister.
Good morning. Your name and location.
Yes, my name is UND. I'm calling right here in Asokoro.
All right, UND. Good to have you. Please go ahead.
Yes, I would like to extend my greetings to our guest over there. I really like his respect on most of his comments. On the issue of Amochi and WIKE and Mubarak, that is the River State crisis. For me, I see it as what we call personal interest. This is personal interest. The problem there is personal interest, not having the citizen on their heart. It's WIKE, as I always say, WIKE is my person, and I like his courage. We are pleased. We have several people to learn from him. But for me, I call him to make ceasefire and make peace to reign in the state. And he has to do the leak. The leak in the book, big book in the Bible. He have the strength. So every battle you win. That's my thought, my sister, and have a nice day.
All right, thank you so much, UND, for your line of thought right there. I think we have a message right here on the WhatsApp portal. This one here says, good morning. I think the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, is over-pampered by both his party, PDP, and the president of Nigeria. That is his reason for acting above board to frustrate his successor, FUBARA. I expect FUBARA to hold firm. He is the governor of the state, ABK from Kubwa says. And this one here says, as long as people live together, there must be crisis, and the crisis solution is now the problem. People play local politics everywhere. Godfatherism and politics are two sides of the same coin. Sanusi from Suleja. All right, and then this one here says, good morning, Moefe. Why are people blaming the FCT minister? For me, the godson FUBARA, who was helped to power, is responsible for what is going on in Rivers State. FUBARA has now wasted 1.5 years, you mean, without achieving anything. Let him continue. Abbas reporting from Dutse. All right. Okay. And then this one here says, okay. All right. Please, your voice note, as a matter of fact, must not exceed 1 minute 30 seconds. Keep it very brief. It's very, very important. That is the standard here. So anything other than 1 minute 30 seconds, I'm afraid I might not have to take it, honestly, because I wouldn't want to take some and leave the others. So please, let's do the right thing going forward. The numbers to call are 09087668888 or 09073530044. You can send a voice note to the WhatsApp portal on 09097054450. All right. I don't even know how to deal with the situation now. All right. Let's take this call. Hello. Good morning to you.
Yes. Good morning, Efi. I give up on sending voice note. This is Alani from Central Area. It's not easy recording at I think I've deleted over 5 voice notes. I think you guys need to look into it. Okay. If you're giving the callers 2 minutes, also give us 2 minutes on the voice recording. Thank you. I greet our guests. I have listened to our guests. And then just like a human, every other human being, it was obviously very biased in the analyzing of the River State crisis, in that he tried to exonerate FUBARA and tried to make WIKE the wicked, and then the troublesome one. And then I have a deeper opinion, to this. Let me also be biased on it. FUBARA is 100% the problem in River State. At no point have we seen any time WIKE, physically present, causing any havoc in Rivers. He has always been talking about his political structure. This is a structure that has invested his time in decades, his resources, his energy, and so much commitment. So nurture and build. Political structure is not the same as governance. Nobody is stopping FUBARA from carrying out his constitutional and the responsibility of Rivers State. But what we can say is the structure that I put in place that made you the governor, you cannot tamper with it. And then if we cannot, or if we do not understand this, and our bet is saying if FUBARA should hand off of the political structure, FUBARA will become powerless. So the question I want to ask him is he also expecting that WIKE should also hand FUBARA his own political structure that has invested his energy resources to build over the years? In conclusion, I stand 100% with WIKE. What WIKE is asking for is not saying he should come and seek approval before he sits for the State Executive Council, or to deny FUBARA from carrying out his elected, constitutional power as the governor of the state. It's purely political structure. And I support that WIKE must do everything within the ambit of the law to protect that very structure, because it is his right. In fact, it is his birthright, because he's the one that nurture and built it, and he's not in any way interfering with the governors of Rivers State. The governor of Rivers State is FUBARA, and he has all the power. It is not the same thing as political structure of the state. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Alamin, for that message. Right? I hope that was Alamin, not Salasi. I don't know. I always mistake, Alamin for Salasi and Salasi for Alamin. But thank you so much for that message. And with regards to the observation on, the duration of time for the voice note on WhatsApp, thank you so much for that concern. We may have to look into it and also get back to you, in due course. Of course, we'll see what we can do about that. I also have someone complaining about same thing here on WhatsApp that he's been trying not to, exceed 1 minute 30 seconds, but it's not easy. That's perhaps because you have a lot on your mind to say, and it speaks to, how passionate people are with regards to the Nigerian story. 09087668888 or 09073530044 are the numbers you can call this morning to be part of a conversation. Sending a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp platform is also allowed on 09097054450. All right. Whilst we wait for more calls to come in, I'll just come back to you now, Emmanuel Ankadi. Thank you so much for staying on the line.
Thanks once again for having me.
All right. I'm sure you heard a number of, contributions from the callers. I don't know if you can take, start off with the last caller who actually said that you putting on the blame on FUBARA is not actually justified. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. I actually listened to him, and deep down in my mind I was laughing. I want to believe he never followed from the very onset. I didn't put blame on WIKE.
On WIKE rather, yeah.
You understand? I was very, very fair as a political scientist and as a communication expert. I was fair in the sense that I said WIKE should understand that in life you can't eat your cake and have it back. WIKE has been a governor, and he has sponsored somebody else to be a governor. So you can't be a former governor and still want to control the state. Now, he was talking about WIKE's political structure.
Yeah.
If I may ask, what is political structure in a state? Political structure in a state are those people that are elected officials, appointed officials, or party leaders, right from the ward level to the local government level, down to the state level. That is the political structure in a state. Now, as a former governor, you have your political structure that brought in somebody, and you still want that person to leave that political structure. Then why is that person there? Let's be honest with ourselves. Now, the same WIKE was also supported to come into power by somebody else, because he never emerged from the blues to come and become a governor. Now, when he came in, did he allow the political structure of the person that supported him to become governor to continue untampered with? So let's just try to be honest in addressing some of these issues. Let's keep aside our biases. Let's keep aside our nuances for whatever benefit that we think. You understand? But the truth must be told. Reality is reality. Take it anywhere. Political structure in every scenario is controlling those that are in charge of, those that can do and undo in a state. That's the political structure. And you don't expect a sitting governor to be so handcuffed to watch things being done that he has no control over. That is why you are a governor of a state. So you can't be a governor of a state and be a puppet. You can't be a governor of a state and be a scarecrow. So like it or not, I've given some practical examples. WIKE is not the first person to have ever sponsored somebody to emerge. I gave examples right from his own boss, his own immediate boss now, Mr. President. And I gave other examples. Examples that they watched things as they unfold. They never took it to be so serious, but people knew that there were crises, but they managed it with maturity. So I think WIKE should borrow a lead from his immediate boss and manage the crisis in Rivers with maturity. He should also borrow a lead from the current SGF between him and Benue State governor, and also handle the crisis in Rivers with maturity. Now, somebody spoke that in a year plus now, FUBARA has not done any project and all that. Of course. Can you be talking of working when there is war in your state? What is happening in River State is more or less like a secret war. Why? Because nobody is safe. So development can only come when there is security in a place. And if FUBARA is not doing anything, if FUBARA is not doing what WIKE expected of him, if FUBARA is not delivering the way WIKE had expected it, then WIKE should come out to tell people that, look, this is my fight with FUBARA. This is why I'm fighting him. I had expected him to do more than what I've done, but he's doing nothing.
All right.
You understand?
Okay.
Then with that, man, the people of the state will now queue up behind WIKE to begin to question FUBARA.
Okay. A caller actually, mentioned earlier that perhaps some elder statesmen like Obasanjo, IBB, and a host of others should call these two political figures, to the table, let them dialogue, and also, chart the way forward. You also remember that Toye Cole, the former gubernatorial candidate of the APC, has said that only 4 people can solve the problem in Rivers. Former Governor Peter Odili, Rotimi Amechi, FUBARA, and WIKE must sit on one table to solve the problem. I know, of course, that you made mention of something like this earlier, where you actually suggested that perhaps the traditional rulers, and if WIKE would not listen to the traditional rulers in the state or the elders in the state, then there should be a medley of traditional rulers or elders within the southern states. They should come together and address the door of Nyesom Wike and Siminalayi Fubara. But what are your thoughts on this disparities as to those that can actually resolve these issues amicably?
Okay, thank you once again. Like in the course of my earlier presentation, I stated the same thing, that if elders in the state can resolve it, then they should look outside and have stakeholders, respected statesmen, and appeal to them to bring the two of them together and resolve their crisis. That they can also look up to and appeal to them to bring the two of them to a round table and resolve their crisis. And the best thing for the states now is to hasten the process of resolving the crisis. Because so long as the crisis continues, development and dividends of democracy will continue to elude that state.
Are you there?
Are you there?
All right. I don't know. The network reception is really very poor. I don't know if it's from our end or yours. But
okay, are you there?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Could you just, wrap up your thoughts? I think I'll just ask you one question just to wrap up the conversation. Is there an end in sight to the political crisis in Rivers State? A yes or no would do.
Of course, there is.
All right.
Yes, of course, there is no crisis that is beyond being resolved. There are wars that were being fought and they were resolved.
All right.
You understand?
All right.
Family crises are being resolved. So political crisis can equally be resolved.
All right.
After all, everybody knows the reason for this political crisis. It's crisis for resources, crisis for relevance, crisis for power, and crisis for... So I think there is no crisis that can be resolved.
All right. Thank you so
much. So my humble advice is both of them, they should try to resolve
All right, thank you so much, Ankeli. I'm afraid we just have to leave it here now because of time. An editor, author, politics and current affairs analyst, Ankeli Emmanuel, has been my guest, and he joined us live via telephone this morning to discuss the political crisis in Rivers State. I hope that you would oblige us when next we call on you, Emmanuel Ankeli.
Yes, of course, I will.
All right, thank you very much. And that's it. To those of you who called in this morning, I'm afraid I can't take, calls any further because of time. To those who sent in, messages and even a voice note that I couldn't take because, of course, the voice notes are actually, more than 1 minute, 30 seconds. But just like a caller observed that we look into the duration, for the voice note, we definitely will get back to you in due course in that regards. But thank you so much for keeping us company on the, program this morning. I would like to state very clearly that the views expressed by my guest or the guest and the callers were not influenced by Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. Until tomorrow, I am Omoife Peace Osemere. Good morning.